project, and I'm going to use a custom HDR I was able to find. Let me show you how the HDR looks like. So that's it. I just applied a slight blur to the entire image because I don't want it to get sharp reflections, and this is a pretty cool trick to get the blurry reflections from the environment. Instead of applying blurry reflections on the material in Cinema 4D, which slows down the render a lot, you can blur the HDR in Photoshop and set it as an environment. And in this particular case I wanted to have blurry reflections from the environment but sharp reflections from the objects here, that the letters reflect each other and so on. So let me drop the HDR into the rig and let's create a quick render to see how it looks like. And you can see the result. Let's rotate this until we get what we want, and you might need to tweak some of the settings, but basically that's the look we are going for. Let's create a plane object and let's set the size of the plane. Let's scale it up to maybe something like 1200 by 1200, and we need only one segment, so I'm going to set it to 1 and select the plane and set the orientation like so. And actually it doesn't matter because we are going to rotate this one anyway, and let's set it -600 on the Y axis, and we want this to create a nice reflection on the letters, and maybe push it backwards a bit and select the plane, right click Cinema 4D tags and apply compositing tag and click scene by camera because we don't want to see this one. And let's create a new material and let's call it plane. Let's turn off the color and the specular and enable the luminance, and I'm going to use sort of a blue color for this and something like that, and reduce the brightness to 25% and drop it on the plane because otherwise the reflections are too strong. And go to the studio rig and increase the brightness a bit like that. I think we are good to go. Maybe increase the hue to 180 to get a blue color, more of a blue color overall tone. And now we need to create a light that come from the back of the logo and create the volumetric white rays. So let's make some room here and create a spotlight. And as you can see, the first thing we need to do is to rotate the spotlight like so, and let's move it something like so, and push it back like 500. Go to the general tab and set the intensity to 500 and play with the color, make it a blue color. Let's reduce the green like so and reduce the blue as well. Let's set the visible light to volumetric and let's turn off the specular and diffuse. We don't want this white to affect our object in any way. We just want the specular, we just want the volumetric whites. Let's go to the details tab and increase the inner angle a bit and actually we need to increase the outer angle first. Let's set the outer angle to 70 degrees and set the inner angle to 60 degrees, and after that let's move to the visibility tab and we need to increase the outer distance to maybe 1200. And if we do a render now, let's create a render, and this is the result. And we are going to keyframe the intensity of the white. So let's go to frame 1, go to the general tab and set a keyframe for the intensity, and then move to frame 260 and let's set the intensity to 0 and create another keyframe. And let's see, it looks okay to me. And finally we need to create our camera animation. So let's drop a camera into the project. Let's select the camera, right click, go to Cinema 4D tags and drop align to spline tag and also a, let's see, target tag. And we need to create a new object, and let's rename this one to target, and let's create a circle spline, and I'm going to turn off for a second the spotlight to remove the lines from it so I can set up my camera animation. And let's select the circle and just drop it into the align to spline tag and set the position to 75 so the camera looks forward. And we need to select the circle and go to the plane and set it to XZ and go to the first frame and set a keyframe for the radius and set it to 10. Go to the coordinates and let's set this one to -30, this one to -260, so the camera is right here at the bottom. Set a keyframe for this parameter, and on the Z set it to 50 so it's right in the middle of the logo. And we need to go to frame 240 and change the settings. Set the Y of the circle to -350 and increase the radius quite a lot, 1600, and set a keyframe. And basically this is the animation. And for the target, let's drop the target object here, select the target, go to the first frame and let's set this to 30 and this to 50 on the Z-axis, and on the Y-axis let's set it to -150 and set a keyframe. Go to frame 240 and set this to -85 just to move the camera a bit upwards. And basically we're creating this animation. Let's enable the camera. Now to fix this, let's select the target, go to the first frame and set this to -30. And as you can see, this fixes the problem. And let's create a test render. Let's turn on the white, and this is how it looks like. I think it's pretty good. Let's go to the render settings and click on the anti-aliasing and set it to best, and I'm going to set it to 4x4 by 8x8